anyway. I might just do a video at the end.
Do what?
Video at the end when it's clear and the sun's down.
Yeah, the water quality looks terrible. The fish are all fat as. They're not too fat, but they're definitely fat. So when you have fish food, it's really good to buy high quality fish food like this, but you never want to leave it open because it ends up, going stale. So this tank is getting massively overpopulated with fish at the moment. So what I'd highly recommend is getting a fishing trap and lower it into this tank down the bottom there and try and make sure the hole is small enough to not catch any of the fish you want to keep, and then try to remove some of these fish because it's really getting overpopulated now, particularly because the amount of filtration on this tank is relatively low for the volume of fish that's in there. Some massive Dobie cichlid. It's hard to get a grasp of how big this fish actually is. A huge female. It's got to be like 45 if not 50 centimeters. Who would have thought angels would survive with this lot?
What if I'm trying to better myself, feeling kinda unwell? How much will I lose before I learn to break the habits I know? Before I end up alone, how much will I lose before I learn to follow through?
You really want to try and get the food in the fish tank, because when you miss and get it all over your lids, it's a great cockroach magnet. So the tank's only 22 degrees at the moment. Considering the fish all look quite good, that may not actually be a bad thing. Typically these fish want to be warmer than that, but seeing the tank so heavily overstocked and all the fish look fine, then maybe running it a bit cooler isn't the end of the world. But if there's any sign of disease, such as white spot, you definitely want to up the temperature. So I'm hesitant to raise the temperature because it's going very well, and they certainly seem to be thriving at 22. But it's a little bit of a risk because the lower temperature means potentially slightly lower immune systems, and it certainly means if you do get a disease, it tends to be a bit more rampant in the lower temperature. But the upside is less aggression, and also the fish are going to be, their metabolism is going to be a little bit slower, which means you shouldn't need to feed as much and there shouldn't be as much waste. Now, seeing how overpopulated and dirty this tank is, the water's clarity is not great, but the water tests have come out surprisingly good. There's no ammonia, there's very little nitrite, there's basically no nitrate, there is a nice high pH, there's a KH of about 5, and the only thing that's wrong is a GH 0. Now the GH, which we're going to add some of this in to raise the GH level, is not as important as the rest of them, but will definitely help the immune system of the fish, promote the body slime, and make the fish overall more robust and hardy, which, considering the amount of crap we're getting out of this tank, and the fact that it seems to be running a little bit cool, is highly advisable. So raising GH is the only thing that we're actually worried about, but due to the amount of crap we're pulling out of the aquarium, it's way overdue for a clean. So I just double checked the temperature. Anytime you get a reading that's not usual, you always want to double check it. And as far as something like a thermometer is concerned, you really always want to have a spare one hanging around, because for the very cheap price a thermometer is, it sure is peace of mind just to make sure that your temperature is right. So we've double checked the temperature, and it's actually 26 degrees, which means that the calibration on that heater reading is incorrect.
Pass us down a bucket if you want us to get rid of these plants.
Okay. So when you're topping up an aquarium, make sure about every 5 centimeters you want to give it a full dose of water ager, just to make sure you don't get too much chlorine in the water.
You fucking mind, mate? Fucking asshole.
So we need to raise the GH level of this water. So this is going to help. Definitely not going to be enough, but it'll be a start.
How's it working down here?
It's a change. So the water clarity of this tank is very bad, and that's because the tank's way overpopulated. The fish are huge now, and they've been breeding and breeding and breeding. There's so many fish in here now. So what we really need to do is maybe consider getting a fish trap and removing some of the small ones and doing more water changes. And we're going to have to get under those rocks again, trying to clean all of the gravel because it's very dirty. And we're going to reduce the amount of food would be a good idea, because they're all pretty fat. And because the tank is got so many fish in it, we need to reduce food. If we reduce food for quite a while, some of those bigger fish might start eating some of the babies, which will help to depopulate the tank. Now imagine how old this fella is. He's such a big jaguar. But you just don't appreciate how big any of these fish are when you see, due to the size of the tank. Now with an aquarium of this age, the maintenance becomes a lot more, and it really needs an overhaul because the waste just builds up, particularly all through the back of the reef. Got to consider getting these plants out and giving them a sun bleach. The filter has been in the bottom of the aquarium, and the pump has managed to stop working over time, so there's been no water going through this filter, and it has gone very badly hydrogen sulfide. And you always got to be very careful whenever you detect hydrogen sulfide, because it's a poisonous gas and you don't want to go breathing it in because it does make you sick. So you want to flush it out and make sure you don't smell it. Yeah, you should. I just got real dizzy because I just smelt this filter and it was like full on hydrogen sulfide, and I stood up and I was like full dizzy because hydrogen sulfide can actually be fatal, but it does make you sick.
Fish tank cleaners, working hard but making jokes between us, fighting noises and talking about roots. making us laugh like a couple of goofs. The tank is massive and the work is tough, but our spirits are high, we can't get enough. We scrub and we clean and make it shine, joking around, having a good time. We talk about life at our dreams and laugh at silly things it seems. We're like family, a team, working together, happy and free. But when work is finally done, we'll look back and see how far we've come. We'll smile and laugh and feel so proud of the fish tank we cleaned and the memories we've found.
So how did you get to do that? Like how long has it been listening to our crap to come up with that?
No, I can just write anything.
No, but so did it?
No, I say.
So how did that happen?
Write a poem about 4.
But how does it even know all that crap about us?
No, because I just list a few random things. Look,
All right, so you chuck some.
write a poem about Paul Talbot. See,
All right, so you put the actual.
Paul Talbot is a man of wit and charm, with a heart so big he can do no harm. His smile so bright it lights up the room, and his laughter like music chases away the gloom. With a mind so sharp he's quick on his feet, and his words like honey are oh so sweet.
What? So how does it come up with all that crap? From you putting a few words in? Really? Very nice. So I'll come back as soon as possible and we will refit this filter because the pump has decided to die. So we've given the filter a good clean out and I would like to recommission it next service. Now imagine how old this fella is. He's such a big jaguar. But you just don't appreciate how big any of these fish are when you see due to the size of the tank. Now with an aquarium of this age, the maintenance becomes a lot more and it really needs an overhaul because the waste just builds up, particularly all through the back of the reef. Got to consider getting these plants out and giving them a sun bleach. Now we need to find out what this cord's for because there's like a double cord here. I don't know what that is. And there's also this that was plugged in and on. So I'm assuming this is related to that cord. And then you've got some sort of J box here. And then the cord is going from there into there and out. I have no idea why that would be the case. So we need to pull that cord through. And then we also cut one of the other cords. So we need to pull this cord through so we can pull the broken old pumps out that are currently stashed down the back there, just to clean all that up. Tank really needs an overhaul now.